Hi everyone, I'm HearAreej, and I'm so excited to launch this videocast today. I'm going to have a special guest called Qais, and I'll be bringing him on in a moment. I want to introduce you to him. He's also got a cochlear implant and he has a hearing loss. So I'm so excited and I can't wait to have a discussion with him and discuss things around whatever it is that you're interested in knowing. And I've conducted a survey recently and a lot of you guys in launching some questions, and I can't wait to answer those questions for you. So let's see if I can get Qais on. Let me see if I can get him on. Hey guys.
Hi HearAreej, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, how's it been?
Yeah, I've been really good. So I thought we'd start off by maybe you introducing yourself, and then we can start going through some questions and having a very informal, casual discussion. So,
Of course. So my name is Qais, and I'm 24 years old, and I'm a financial and product designer. I'm a public speaker and disability rights advocate. So I was born profoundly deaf, and I wear both 2 cochlear implants.
wow, that's amazing. So I also have a cochlear implant, but just in one ear, and I wasn't actually born with a hearing loss. It was kind of discovered around the age of 4.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's quite interesting to see how we both have a cochlear implant, and there could be some similarities and some differences in our journey.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because obviously everyone experiences in different ways. So because obviously I was born profoundly deaf, but my parents didn't know around about 2 years, and they discovered that I was deaf because at the time I was wearing hearing aids, but hearing aids unfortunately doesn't work out. So did you manage to wear hearing aids?
So I was given hearing aids from around the age of 4 till about the age of 25. And
no way.
Feel like, yeah, and around the age of, I'd say 18, I think it's more you're getting exposed to a lot of adults.
Yeah.
So when you're getting exposed to a lot of adults and you're having a lot more discussions, you have to be more alert, more exposed, more professional. So you have to be able to hear. You don't really have a choice.
Exactly.
So I felt like my hearing was kind of getting worse, but I don't think it really was. It was just you're changing, you're going from a child to an adult. You've got more responsibilities. Yeah. So I really had to concentrate and listen a lot more. And just the hearing aids on their own weren't enough for me.
Yeah,
so I started looking into getting a cochlear implant surgery. So I got mine done in London at King's Cross Hospital.
Right, yeah. I mean, actually, so I was born profoundly deaf, and I had a surgery until when I was 3.5 years old, and I had a cochlear implant when I was 4 years old. So for the first 3.5 years, I was completely deaf. So that means that my lack of communication has been delayed. My knowledge has been delayed. But when I was in a reception in primary school, I had a lot of support to improve my communication skills, to improve my education. But at that time, I used to do sign language. But to educate me how to communicate with other people. But at that time, I had a lot of support to do sign language with me. Did you have a sign language as well?
No, actually, I had no exposure to sign language at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no exposure to sign language. I mean, there'd be a teacher of the deaf that would come to school on occasions, but that's why I don't know any sign, and it's something I need to learn. But Did you have anyone to sign with?
Sorry, what's the question again?
Did you have anyone to sign with?
Yes, actually, well, when I was a young age, I didn't sign, but I had teachers to do sign language for me to understand what the teachers are saying in a couple of the lessons. But I had literally had a support when I was in primary school, all the way to college, but when I was in school, I had lack of confidence. I had lack of confidence because of my disability and because obviously I wear a cochlear implants. That I was really, really shy. I had no friends. It was just a nightmare, honestly, because I just couldn't accept because of my disability. So honestly, I tried my best, but I didn't make any friends, and I just focused on my education because my education, that's the main thing. You want to pass my exams. But my teachers, they think I will not able to go to college or university just because I have a hearing problem. And they think I can't able to pass my exams, but my parents have been always trying to encourage me to pass my exams. And also there was like a teacher of deaf have been trying to encourage me to pass the exams, and I proved people that I can do it because I passed all my exams and I went to college.
Wow, that is so inspirational, Qais. Honestly, thank you so much. And it's so interesting to see how it actually relates to my story. Just like you said, that everyone's story is completely different, but already I can actually see a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how you said that your teachers would underestimate you, exactly the same thing happened to me. So I felt like my teachers put me down for the foundation paper.
Yeah, actually, we had sort of this, they want to put in the lowest point of the classroom because they were trying to make it easy for you.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But we're not actually sound quite stupid, but we want to make it, but we can prove that we can do it. But the teachers were trying to make the lowest points to make it easy for all of us. But I get the point of view, but it's the thing is, I mean, the teachers, they had a lack of knowledge about the hearing loss.
I totally agree with you. It's not just teachers, it's the world. And that's where we need to increase the knowledge on hearing loss. Hearing loss does not mean that, you know, like you're dumb in any sense. You still have the brains, you know. You just have to work a bit harder. And even someone who doesn't have a hearing loss, they could also, you know, struggle with their work. So as much as someone with hearing can struggle, we can struggle, and we just need to work really hard. Can I ask you, did you go to a mainstream school?
Yes, I went to a mainstream school. Do you mean by a normal school, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, yes. I meant, I went to a normal school. I didn't go to any like a specialist school. Anyway, because my parents knew that I can do anything and I can do this education, but I don't need any follow-up support. But I had the support from the mainstream school, but I had a lack of experiences because I didn't have the same childhood from everyone else, because I didn't have any friends, and because actually I didn't approach to anyone because I just had a low confidence. I just couldn't make any friends, and I was really, really annoyed. I mean, I was just hiding in the cave. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I've been spending time in the break time and lunch times alone. But I mean, I was trying to stay positive and I was just trying to focus on my education. But anyway, but from this point, from now, I can see making friends in school, isn't such a main thing. I mean, passing your exam is such a main priority because you want to make a progress for your career, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I can totally see how you've literally come out of that cave with everything that you've been doing so far. Do you mind just introducing me to some of the things that you've been working on at the moment?
I'm working at the moment. So I am working for Cochlear at the moment. It's a new organisation, and it will be launching in a couple of weeks' time. So I've been working for Kotlet for a couple of weeks now. But last year, because I graduated in financial product designer in 2019, but unfortunately the pandemic has made it a lot difficult for jobs. And honestly, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure in one of the questions we'll come back to discussing the topic around the difficulties in finding a job with a hearing loss. But before we do that, I just want to go into discussing what it was like growing up with from a British Pakistani background with a hearing loss.
I mean, when I was a young age, I mean, like everyone just had a lack of knowledge about the hearing loss, and just lack of knowledge about the cochlear implants. And especially like, because obviously I speak English, but I could not able to learn my mother's tongue language, which is Urdu. But everyone was just speaking Urdu, and I just can't able to understand what people are saying. And I keep asking my cousins for a translation all the time. But I mean, it's just where, we all had barriers and challenges when we had to have like group conversations, when we have the background noises, and when you don't like cafes or restaurants, you have this like a group conversation that people are just talking at the same time, but you get really confused. You can't able to understand, and it's just talking at the same time. But I mean, it's just lack of knowledge about the hearing loss. But I'm trying to like get involved with a group conversation. But as I mentioned, I passed my exams, went to college, and at that time I didn't have any friends. But I passed my exams in college, and then I successfully passed through to university. But when I was at university, it's a lot of an independent lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of independence because in school and college you had this 100% support, but in university you just have like independent lifestyle. But in university, everyone is like mature, and they understand who you are. And I managed to make really good friends in university, and they accept who I am, and they understand my struggles, they understand my problems. But that's friends, what they are. I mean, when we have a good conversation, they try to get me to get involved, to understand what's the conversation about, what's the topic is about.
Yeah, no, I feel like that kind of transition happened for me when I was in college. So I had to retake 1 year of my A-levels, and during that year, I made some really good friends that stuck with me through the year. Even my friends in high school, so I went to only girls' school. So I made a few friends at that time, and I've known them ever since. A lot of my closest friends are from before, because they've seen how I've changed and how I've grown as a person. But like you're saying, I totally agree that in university, everyone's so much more mature. And you're able to communicate your needs. It's not even that. You understand yourself so much better now. It's like, oh shit, like I don't hear this. Oh, I have to lip read. Oh, I have to like look at the person. Oh, we should sit around each other, opposite each other. You can communicate that. As a child,
I mean, as a child, you couldn't pay attention. I mean, because you're new to this with a hearing loss, and you get used to it, and to see how can you break the barriers, break the challenges, and to see what's the solution for that. But like when I was a child, my parents have been trying to encourage me. I mean, without the encouragement, I would be standing right here. Because with the encouragement, like the parents from the professionals, I meant about professionals, teachers of deaf, who have the experience with the deaf people, but they have been trying to encourage me. I mean, without the encouragement, you can't, no one able to push you that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But when you were talking about the British and the Asian community, what I'm finding, what I'm aware that the parents out there, that they think that people with disability think that they can't do anything. And that is not true, because that out there, the people would, like the parents, some out there parents think that people with disability can't do anything, and they put in specialist school, and this child is affecting on his future without the encouragement. I mean, with the encouragement, it makes a huge difference for your future. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like even I had the same kind of encouragement. So like my parents kind of refused to, like even go into the whole thing with possibly like sign language or deaf culture. It wasn't really a thing for them.
Yeah.
But then we kind of also have to accept that not everyone has the option of getting a cochlear implant. So they have to fit into the deaf culture, So, I mean,
Exactly.
we were privileged that was able to help us. But again, whether you're depending on sign language or you have a cochlear implant, there's no reason for you to think that you can't achieve anything. Anything is possible.
Exactly. I mean, because obviously, as I mentioned, that I had a cochlear implant when I was 4 years old. But I mean, like for example, one of my brothers, he was born deaf as well, but he had a cochlear implant when he was 10 months old. So can you see there was a huge difference between me and my brother? And my brother can able to speak English, he can able to speak Urdu, but because he just had a cochlear implant at the early age. So what I'm trying to say, that it's important to get hearing tests as soon as possible when a baby's born, to make sure that it's not affecting on the future. But I mean, for some people, the cochlear implants could make a huge difference for those lives. I mean, especially for socializing, for education, and for jobs as well.
It's also your personality, instantly once you get it, a different side to you kind of starts to come out, a more confident side, and that actually has an impact on who you are. If you're constantly just stuck in that cave, that's actually not who I am, stuck in that cave.
Exactly. Because what I was saying there is, I was so sensitive, honestly. I think I was so sensitive when I was just hiding in the cave. But when I was out to university, I mean, come on, guys, you got this. This is your chance to make new friends. And thankfully, I passed those 4 years. It was just the best time of my life, because that's who I really are. And it's just like, I'm glad for the experiences at university. And I passed the course of financial product designer.
Yeah, no, honestly, you've done amazing. So you mentioned you have a brother. So you have a younger brother, right?
Yeah, actually, I had 2 brothers. My middle brother is hearing. So I'm the oldest, and my middle brother is hearing, and my youngest brother, he was born profoundly deaf. But my parents, they had experiences with me, and they know what to do with my youngest brother. So they decided to get a cochlear implant at an early age, as soon as possible, because they can see the differences. But obviously my family they can speak Urdu, but I'm the only person that I can't able to speak Urdu, because my doctor has mentioned to my parents that I have to speak only one language, which is English. But then obviously with my youngest brother, he obviously had the experiences, so my youngest brother, obviously my parents didn't teach them, but my youngest brother is just pick up from the movies, Bollywood movies, from the family conversation, and that's all he can understand Urdu. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's a huge. I mean, it's really, really important to get a cochlear implant at the early age, because it will make a huge difference for your career, for your future.
That's quite interesting, because my first language was actually Urdu.
I said, no way. No way. Yeah. So how long do you speak in Urdu?
I mean, I can speak quite well, but I just feel like over time, as my hearing has kind of got worse, I've forgotten a lot of it, or I just don't have the confidence in speaking in it that well. You know, I find that whenever I go to Pakistan, because my dad lives in Pakistan, whenever I go out there, then my Urdu kind of starts to pick up and get better. Because with my daddy, I can only communicate in Urdu. She can't understand English. She can't speak to her in English.
Yeah.
And I find that once you've got that accent, like that strong British accent, speaking Urdu, it's just, like, you know, it's not the same. And a point did come where, so my dad always speaks in English to us. My mum speaks a bit of Urdu, a mix of English and Urdu. So then I'm like, what's the point of like putting all the effort in? I live in the UK, so I lived in London just about till last year. I've moved out to Dubai. And Urdu can be really helpful in Dubai because I feel like it's spoken more than English and Arabic.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
Because most of the population in Dubai is Pakistani and Indians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, because it's really important to raise awareness, especially in Pakistan, because there's just lack of hearing loss, lack of communication, lack of cochlear implants. But I mean, we have to just raise awareness to those people in Pakistan that it's important for the babies to get hearing tests as soon as possible, and especially for the parents to have the increased knowledge about the hearing loss, and that's very important because that will be affecting on this child's future. Because you want the child to have a great, bright, hope future. So that's what I'm trying to do because I'm a disability rights advocate. But that's what I'm hoping to raise awareness in Pakistani society. But I'm really glad that the Connect Here has been launched in 2017, and the Connect Here has been making a huge difference because they have the sign language interpreters, breaking barriers and challenges for those young, especially for young people in Pakistan.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you because I felt like growing up in Pakistan, there was a lot of shame behind it, a lot of embarrassment.
Oh my God.
Like instantly, if you were to come down to, your child should, a cochlear implant would be good for your child. Oh no, my child will have to wear this big thing on their ear. People will look at it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of discrimination from around. I mean, it's just around the society. I just have that. I mean, it's not about the hearing loss. It's about the disability. It's about like people just don't have the aware of about the disability and they think that they can't do anything about it. But I mean, because obviously the generations coming in difference now. I mean, from 10 years ago, it's a lot of difference. But now, I mean, because obviously it's social media and some people out there on social media like HearAreej or like myself trying to show that people that we can do this and we can raise awareness. I mean, it's just like society becoming different. I mean, just have the awareness around it. But the society is coming in difference now from apart from the 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. So just moving on a little bit, I wanted to discuss a few things around struggling to find a job with a hearing loss. So I conducted a survey, some market research a few weeks ago, and I was actually quite surprised. I mean, I know that we're in a lockdown in the UK and around the world, there's a lockdown, but a lot of people were saying that they're struggling to find a job, especially with their hearing loss. I mean, as we've discussed, there's a lot of discrimination and there's a lack of awareness on the hearing loss. And we've touched on the fact that our teachers would put us down and think we can't do anything. But exactly. What can we do to change that?
I mean, it's very important. It's just to raise awareness. Because I've been applying jobs for so long, because last year, and since I graduated, but it's really difficult because sometimes I feel a bit discriminated from the employers, but they didn't mention about the disability. Oh, they find a better candidate because they have more experiences, especially because obviously I did a furniture designer, and it's really difficult to get a job in the design industry. But sometimes it's quite competitive between the candidates, and sometimes, like for example, you have to make phone calls. It might be work, and the employees, they might be thinking about how this guy who is deaf and how this guy can able to communicate with professionals or with telephones, making phone calls, what I'm saying. But I mean, it's really important to just raise awareness, but I mean, it's important to be yourself. And I mean, it's important because I don't think that you should hide your disability from applying jobs. I mean, you should not hide it. I mean, it should be open. That's important. But I mean, just raise awareness about this disability in the workplace is very important. I mean, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And that's part of the work that me and you are trying to do. We're trying to really raise that awareness. But one of the most important things I find is that I've noticed that there is, like, obviously when you apply for a job, it asks you whether you have a disability or not.
Yeah, and you were not sure. You were not sure yes or no. And because if you say yes, I feel that you may have less chance to get a job. But if you say no, that might be a higher chance to say yes to get a job. I mean, that's how I feel. And because from the attitude I've been receiving, and I feel there was just a little bit about discrimination, but you didn't mention about disability. Is that how you feel about it?
So I felt that I always mentioned it. I would try my best to mention it. The only time I possibly wouldn't mention it is if maybe hearing loss wasn't one of the options.
Yeah.
It depends on how the application is worded. So for example, if it says, do you have any of the following disabilities? Or sometimes it specifically phrases, do you have any mobility issues? So for example, in a lot of places, they consider a disability to be mobility related because you can't move around. A lot of places I find that a hearing loss is not a disability. Now, I don't see it as a bad thing or a good thing. It's just however you want to perceive it. So I find that I would always, if it mentioned hearing loss, or I felt like actually this company won't mind, because I find that in bigger companies, they have a percentage of deaf people that they have to recruit. This is what I've heard. So, for example, in the UK, they have to show diversity, or even around the world, in multinational companies, there's a percentage of people with disabilities or people with a color, people with different races and backgrounds. They have to recruit them. They have to show a general population of the whole world.
Exactly,
Now, another good thing about the UK is that you have access to work. Have you heard of access to work?
I heard that, access to work,
So in the past, I was working for a multinational company called GE, General Electric.
Okay.
And when I was working for them, that is before I had my cochlear implant. And that's when I realized how hard it was for me. So I was working with them for a year and I really struggled. At the very first stage of my interview, so there were like 4 stages, you had to go for a telephone interview. And at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? I have to tell them I have a disability. I can't do the telephone interview. So they would be like, no worries, you can come in, we'll do it face to face. Okay. I did that, and the woman was so impressed by me. She was like, wow, this is amazing. Then I had the assessment center. And in the assessment center, you have like 4 different interviews on that same day. And I kept mentioning that, you know, I can't hear, because you know what? I actually find that the older and more mature you get, a lot of people do actually find it more impressive.
Exactly.
And honestly, it's also about how you put it out there. Are you still in that cave talking about it as something negative? Or are you like, look, this is what I have and I know how to work beyond it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult because obviously all the jobs applications are online. And when they ask you, you have a disability. And for example, if you say yes, and you have to add a comment, what type of disability? And if I put a hearing loss, but people, the employers, they don't know that if I can able to speak or if I can able to hear, and that's the problem. and they're giving them thoughts like, what is the problem with me? But because obviously, if you do it like, if you're not meeting in person, how can you able to know that what is this this guy with the hearing loss? But I mean, it's a bit difficult because they sometimes with the job applications they don't involve what type of disability. It's just why they say yes or no. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's the job application form. The better it is, the more they want to find out, and that's like
Yeah.
good chance to kind of make that good impression. So at that stage, they're only comparing you on paper. The yes or no, they could look at the yes, I have a disability, but wow, the application is so good.
Yeah.
So let's find out about him. I've got 10 minutes to, have a meeting with him and find out more. So you mentioned you have a disability, not that it impacts, the process, but we just want to know how we can support you. Because like I mentioned, in the UK, there's access to work. Now, what they do is they come into a work center and they make your job accessible to you. So for example, someone will come and look at the barriers to your job. So for example, if there's no fire alarm that flashes, they'll make sure that is installed. If there is no, what's it called? If there's no telephone that is suitable for your hearing device, they'll make sure that that's put in place. If there's no captions in meetings and Zoom, they'll make sure that that's put in place. So whatever you need, someone will come and assess your workplace and suggest to your employer what they need to put in place to help you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, we got a long way to go, and it was really important to just raise awareness about the society and about the hearing loss, and it's very important, especially the technology is evolving, and because with the phone calls you can able to connect with the Bluetooth and make this a lot easier, and I'm listening to the microphone which able to connect to the laptop. It's the mini mic from Cochlear, so it's really easy. I mean, it's just the technology. It makes a huge difference for those people who have severe hearing loss or profoundly deaf.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So what is this microphone that you're using?
So basically, this microphone I can able to connect to the laptop whenever I listen to music, and it's direct to listen to a cochlear implant. But I mean, you should check it out as well. For those people who don't know, in Pakistan, I mean, they should check it out. But I think it's only for nucleus, nucleus 6 or nucleus 7 for cochlear. But sometimes when I go to for a lecture, or when I go to when to see my friends, just put this clip on here, and it's just I can able to hear what my friends are saying. So it makes it a lot clearer, and makes a huge difference. I mean, when I mentioned that I love going for cafes and restaurants, and I find it so really hard to understand behind the background noises, that the mini mic can make a quite big difference. So it's just directly to person voices, if that makes sense.
That's amazing. But which cochlear implant do you have? Because I don't think I have that option.
Yeah, so it's a nucleus 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think Pakistan they do. I don't think they do a cochlear, which based in Sydney. But I think they do different brands of the hearing loss devices in Pakistan.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So I had the Medal Sonnet.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
But I don't think it connects with any Bluetooth facilities or anything.
Oh, okay, right. And do they provide you with the microphones that can able to hear, and is that, or maybe, can you connect to the laptop?
No, I don't think I've even bothered to try. That's something I can look into.
Yeah, I mean, check out. It makes a huge difference, and especially you don't want to make it too. Don't want to have another problems in your life. I mean, you want to solve these solutions straight away. I mean, it's very important.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, it's been fantastic speaking to you today, and we've covered so many interesting things.
Exactly.
And I really hope that everyone found this information valuable. Possibly you were inspired by Qais' story, and we've answered a lot of your questions. Qais, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to share?
Yes, I would like to mention that because in Pakistan, those young people who are deaf, I want to give them advice to be open, as open, and if you have any problems, you can speak to your parents or just speak to your friends. I mean, there's no harm to hide your feelings inside, that way you were suffering inside, that if you're struggling with about hearing loss or you're struggling to make friends. I mean, it's important for the kids to tell the parents, or for the friends to tell them that if you have any problems, they will able to solve the problems. But also, like, people can be can be embarrassing with the disability, with the word disability. I mean, disability doesn't make you different. I mean, we're all human beings and we're all the same. I mean, no one's perfect, and everyone, each of them has the problems in everyone's lives. I mean, the disability don't make yourself different from everyone else. I mean, can do it.
Yeah, I know. So what I like to say is it's a differability. The moment you learn to accept your differability, you learn to love yourself. And the moment you learn to love yourself, you open up the doors from that cave. That's
exactly.
how I see it. And like you mentioned, it's not just young people, it's also parents. I feel like a young child may not speak to their parents about it because they feel they won't understand. So even if parents feel like they don't understand, I mean, even we are happy to be contacted. So if it's young people, if it's parents, any questions you have, please feel free to connect me. You know, on Connect his page, our Instagram tags will be mentioned. And feel free to, you know, get in touch with us with any questions you have. I just hope today has really inspired someone and we've answered your questions. Thank you so much for your time, Qais.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope this will be useful information.
And thank you to Connect Here for powering and making this come to life with the captions and with the PSL.
And awesome sign in as well.
Thank you, Zima.